Today we're doing a full front brake job on this Mazda CX-5, and that means we're swapping out both the pads and the rotors. Whether you're looking to save some cash, learn a new skill, or just want the peace of mind of doing it yourself, this guide will walk you through everything step by step. Alright, before we get the car in the air, let's quickly go over what you'll need. For lifting the car, a jack and then a good set of jack stands are essential. For your main tools, you'll need a ratchet, a socket set, make sure you have a 14mm, a 17mm, and a 21mm, a breaker bar for those tough bolts, and a torque wrench to finish the job right. You'll also need a C-clamp or caliper compression tool, plus an S-hook or zip ties to hang the caliper, a steel wire brush along with a small nylon brush, and for supplies, some brake cleaner, your new pads and rotors, and a little bit of anti-seize and brake grease. I've put links to the parts and tools down in the description so you can easily find the exact ones I'm using. First things first, while the car is still on the ground, just crack the lug nuts loose. Don't remove them yet, just break the initial tension. Now, let's get it in the air. A great central jacking point on this CX-5 is right on the front subframe in between the heat shield and the central bolt. Once it's high enough, slide your jack stands under the factory lift points on both sides and gently lower the car onto them. I like to leave the jack lightly in place as a backup for safety. With the car secure, go ahead and finish removing the lug nuts and pull the wheel off. Now, let's get this caliper off. Grab your 14mm socket and remove the two guide pin bolts on the back. These bolts hold the brake caliper in place, but they also let it slide side to side. That movement makes sure the brake pads press evenly on the rotor, no matter the thickness of each pad. Once they're out, you should be able to wiggle the caliper up and off the rotor. Now, this is important. Never let the caliper hang by its brake hose, as this can cause serious damage. Use an S-hook, a zip tie, or a piece of wire to hang it securely from the strut spring, making sure the hose isn't twisted or kinked. Okay, next up is the caliper bracket itself. It's held on by two beefy 17mm bolts on the back. These are usually on there pretty tight, so this is where your breaker bar really comes in handy. Once those are off, the bracket comes right off. With the bracket off the car, you can just pull the old brake pads straight out of the bracket. Then, pop out these little metal retaining clips. Your new brake pads should come with a fresh set to replace these. With the caliper bracket out of the way, you can remove the old rotor. If it's stuck from rust, give it a few firm taps with a rubber mallet, or use a hammer and a block of wood to break it free. Alright, time for cleaning. Take your wire brush to the wheel hub and clean off all that rust. A clean mounting surface is critical for preventing vibration. Once it's clean, apply a thin coat of anti-seize to the face of the hub. This will save you a headache the next time you do this job. Next, give that caliper bracket the same treatment. Really focus on cleaning the channels where the clips sit. Then spray everything down with brake cleaner to remove the dust and grime. This makes sure the new clips will seat properly. If there's a lot of buildup in the guide pin bores, clean them out by spraying some brake cleaner inside and gently brushing with a nylon brush. Just be careful not to damage the rubber seal. While you're at it, take the slide pin bolts, wipe them clean, and apply a fresh coat of silicone brake grease. Now it's time to start putting everything back together. Apply a little brake grease where the new clips will sit. Then snap the new hardware clips, the ones that came with your pads, into place. Make sure the clips don't stick out too much on the side of the rotor. This could cause squeaks when driving the car. Next, take your new brake pads and apply a thin layer of brake grease or brake quiet to the back. This helps dampen vibrations and reduce noise. Most brake pad kits include a small pouch of grease, but if not, I've linked to the products I use in the description below. Also, add a little grease to the small ears on the sides. These are the parts that slide into the clips. Don't use brake quiet here, just regular brake grease. Next, install the two brake pads into the caliper bracket, making sure the ears slide properly into the new clips we installed earlier. Now, clean your new rotor with brake cleaner to remove any grease, then slide it onto the hub. You can use one lug nut to hold it in place while you work. Now, reinstall the caliper bracket and pads over the rotor and tighten down those two 17mm bolts. We're going to torque these to 80 foot-pounds, or 110 Newton-meters. Before we can slide the caliper back on, we need to make room for the thicker new pads. You'll need to push the caliper piston back into its bore. The easiest way is with a caliper tool or a C-clamp, and one of the old brake pads to protect the pistons. This old brake pad also makes sure the pistons get pressed in evenly. Just go slow and steady until it's flush. Now, slide the caliper back over the new pads, making sure the brake hose is sitting in its original position and isn't twisted. Reinstall the two 14mm guide pin bolts. The larger bolt goes on top, the smaller one on the bottom. Torque them both to 28 foot-pounds or 39 Newton-meters. Double-check that the rubber grommets between the caliper and the bracket are seated properly before moving on. The last step here is to grab your brake cleaner and a clean rag and wipe down both sides of the new rotor to remove any oils or grease. We're almost done. Take off that temporary lug nut, put the wheel back on, and thread on all the lug nuts by hand until they're snug. Now, lower the car back to the ground. Once the full weight of the car is on the wheel, torque the lug nuts to 108 foot-pounds or 146 Newton-meters. And always remember to tighten them in a star or crisscross pattern to ensure the wheel seats evenly. Alright, one last crucial step before you hit the road. Get in the car and pump the brake pedal several times. It could feel soft at first, but it will firm right up as the caliper piston moves out to meet the pads. Once the pedal feels firm, you'll want to bed in your new brakes. Check the instructions that came with your pads, but the process is usually a series of medium to hard stops from about 40 miles per hour down to 10 miles per hour, without ever coming to a complete halt. This transfers an even layer of pad material onto the rotor, which gives you the best performance and lifespan. And that's it. You just completed a full front brake job on your Mazda CX-5. If this video helped you out, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more DIY car care guides. Thanks for watching.